Thank you. I'm really looking forward to hearing all these lightning talks in the first session. We have a great lineup this morning. And so we're going to start with Dira Joniff from Charles River Watershed Association. So good morning, Dira.
Good morning. Let me share my screen.
So each of our speakers will have 3 minutes. I'll give them a warning in the chat, a private warning at 2.5 minutes, and then I'll hold my hand up at 3 minutes. So then the next person can come on.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Dira Johanneff, and I am with the Charles River Watershed Association, or CRWA. We are a nonprofit working to protect, restore, and enhance the Charles River and its watershed through science, advocacy, and the law. One of the main ways we do this is through education and training. And in 2018, CRWA launched the Green Infrastructure, or GI Ambassador Program, which is a collaboration with SLL Conservation Corps, a foundation focused on preparing underserved Boston youths and young adults for careers in water management and conservation. And through this program, we hope to support and reduce barriers for SLL Conservation Corps students to enter the conservation and water management workforce and increase awareness of what GI is in neighborhoods across Boston and our watershed. So the GI Ambassador Program is divided into 2 parts. First is a background training in climate change, its impacts, urban water management challenges, and then basics of green stormwater infrastructure, so design, function, and benefits. The second part is an on-site GI demo day where we go to one of the 5 Boston public schools with GI installations and coordinate this with the engineering and landscaping groups that designed and installed the GI to do a day of hands-on learning and maintenance with the students. The types of green infrastructure covered in the program, including what we see for the on-site visits, are rain gardens, bioswales, permeable pavements, and tree pits. At the on-site visits, the students get to learn about the benefits of GI, including how it reduces urban heat impacts, mitigates small localized floods, filter pollutants using various plant species, and provide habitats for different organisms. And in 2021, we trained 18 SLL students, with some of them going on to get their wastewater operator license and are now considered GI ambassadors. And we have 3 trainings planned for 2022. And this year, to expand our reach, we're hoping that our GI ambassadors will be able to record educational and demonstrative videos of green infrastructure and how it benefits our communities, also with Spanish translations, so we can increase our program reach. We also hope to expand this program in the coming years to include more organizations from underserved communities. And as you can see in the pictures on the poster, these are some great examples of the students going on to the on-site visits and doing some maintenance with our different collaborators. Thank you. I think you're muted, Amy.
Thank you, Dira. Thanks so much. While we switch speakers, there might be time for one quick question, but Annie O'Connell is next from UMass Boston, talking about beach profiling community science.
Thank you, Amy. So like Amy said, I'll be talking about a community science project that's been going around Boston. So let's get started. Just to get on the same page, a beach profile, if you can kind of imagine slicing a beach in half and looking at it from the side, that sort of profile view of the side of the beach is what we're interested in. And why would you want to measure it? Because beaches are really dynamic environments and they change all the time. And the three sort of important ingredients to how much change is happening on your beach at any given time would be waves, wind, and timing. So if there are really high tides or a really intense storm, the changes can be pretty dramatic. This picture up top is an cliff erosion in Sandwich, Maine. And then on the bottom, I think that's Newburyport, Mass. And it looks like the entire beach ended up in someone's driveway. So if these three things coincide, we can see really dramatic changes. But changes can also happen more slowly over the course of the season. So this is a picture of the same beach in the summer and winter in La Jolla, California. You can see in the summer, there's tons of sand, lots of space to stretch out. But in the winter, storms kind of slough that sand away for the season. So beaches can look really different depending on what time of year it is. This is a pretty dramatic example, but we do have some of that in New England as well. So our community science project is the first of 4 that was chosen to complement the research efforts of the Stone Living Lab, which is kind of an interactive laboratory out in the Boston Harbor area. So I think community science is really great, but the 3 kind of main things about it are that, for one, you can educate members of the public in a really fun, interactive way. You can also produce really reliable data and much more of it than if, say, a small group of researchers were trying to get out to all of these beach sites. And it also allows for conversation with volunteers and community members. So this project I'll be talking about ran from April to December of 2021, and volunteers visited their sites on a monthly basis and also occasionally before and after a storm. So these are our sites. They kind of ended up breaking themselves into 2 groups. So low energy beaches that were kind of tucked back behind the harbor islands, and then higher energy beaches that were more facing the Atlantic Ocean. Just kind of at a glance, we had about 12 beach sites, 35 community scientists, and they were managed to get to their beaches 74 times and get over 170 profiles. We have a lot of information to work with that we're kind of diving into now. One of the things you can do is put together a beach profile envelope where you stack all of the dates on top of one another and see the kind of rate of change or the expected amount of change at a certain site. So if you're interested, you can come by my breakout room and we'll be talking about more ways to interact with the data and also our new upcoming project. All right, thank you. And I'll see some of you soon.
Great, thank you, Annie. So far, you guys have been great, just under 3 minutes. So next we have Maria Lyons from Mount Alvernia Academy. Does anyone have a quick question for Annie while we switch to Maria?
Hi, Annie. Why
okay,
I'm
looking for my PowerPoint again. I'm having that same problem. Hold on a second.
Can you repeat your question, Kanan?
Sure.
Thank you.
This is Kanan from East Boston, by the way.
Sure.
Thanks for the presentation. You mentioned waves and wind. Are tides not part of the equation?
Yes, definitely they are. I think I sort of group tides into the timing part. So just depending on the time of day or the time of year, how big the tides are, absolutely a huge part of it. Yeah, good question.
Thank you.
I'm having a problem sharing my screen again, like the other day, and I don't know why, because it's on my browser, but it's not showing up in the share part.
We can see your slide like this. If you just want to click through this way, I think that would work fine.
Oh, can you see them now?
Yep.
Oh, all right. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So I'm the science teacher at Mount Alvernia Academy. I was also one of the community scientists with Annie in the last project. Had a lot of fun. Now it's going back fast. I guess it wanted to fast forward. All right, I'm sorry. We'll go back. All right, so we started a program with the Mass Environmental Trust with Susan Lanza, who came to our school and asked if we could start a project to help save the North Atlantic right whale by raising money, helping to raise money by selling their license plates. She thought children's voices would be heard better than adults. The first thing we did was a virtual lesson with Scott Laundrie from the Center of Marine Studies in Provincetown, who told the kids all about the right whales and how they get entangled and how he helps to disentangle them. He asked them to come up with new ideas about how to prevent the whale entanglement, and they all did that and sent it to them. So we had a little engineered drawings. We didn't actually make them, but they engineered the drawings and ideas. Then we decided to make life-size drawing of a whale in the schoolyard, along with other little pictures of sea animals around it. So they measured the actual distance of an average white right whale and drew it in the schoolyard. They added a very large Massachusetts license plate in the middle of the whale. And there is a video, and I'll show you the video if you come to my breakout room, because we don't have time. They also made whale art. They did research themselves and made some very nice pictures about the whales, things that they thought were important. We made a slideshow presentation of their pictures, and we put voiceovers with their messages on it. It was all put together, and we showed the presentation to our community, but also the Mass Environmental Trust had put it on their Facebook page, and the Framingham State University Planet Earth Edition Earth Day celebration also showed it during their celebration. And for their effort, we won some awards, award from the Massachusetts Secretary of Energy and Environment and the Mass Department of Environmental Protection, and a national award from the Project Green Schools. We're very proud of that. The thing about this program, which was apropos for the time, was it enabled the students to get out into the world without being out in the world. So we met scientists, we met other people who help with the whales, and it gave them a real world experience, a real world project in the safety of their school with being COVID. So the children embraced it, they loved it, they felt like they really were helping, and they also have continued. This year, we're working on a project on one of the other license plates, which is the brook trout. So they're going to make a little presentation about the brook trout this year. So we're happy to continue the project another year. So I can show you the videos in my 20-minute presentation if you come to that. Otherwise, I think they're going to put these all online. One more thing, don't forget, buy a license plate for the Mass Environmental Trust. Thank you. Thank you, all done.
Great, thank you, Maria. So next we have Grace Simpkins from Woods Hole Sea Grant.
Thank you. Just gonna share my screen. So as you just heard, I'm Grace Simpkins. I'm the Marine Education Specialist at Woods Hole Sea Grant, and I'm going to just share with you a couple of different programs and resources. All of the resources that I mentioned that are online can be found at our Sea Grant website that I've put right here, and I also put it in the chat. So the first program I wanted to tell you about is our Girls in Science program. We're currently taking applications. This is for any Massachusetts high school sophomore and junior young woman. And what we do is we bring the students 10 at a time for a residential fellowship here in Woods Hole. You can see this is a picture of our Quissit campus where we do some of our research. It's research-based. They're working on bioacoustics in dolphins from Sarasota, Florida. So the whole week is based around that, and it's meant to give an authentic experience to these young women that maybe have faced barriers to being able to access this, so that they get to experience what research is like. They meet strong female role models, both established in their field as well as graduate students. They do research that contributes to this project, and they produce something at the end that tells their story. And I just love this one, came this summer, where she wrote out STEAM, and each of the images in this relates to something we did during the week. And then they're meant to take that back to their community and share it with their high school or a civic group. We also do the Coast, Oceans, and Stewardship program. This is classroom visits, so it's based on the research being done at the Northeast Fisheries Science Center, as well as Hui and Woods Hole Sea Grant. I forgot to mention Woods Hole Sea Grant, we're located at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution in Woods Hole. So we have free lessons, but we also have all of the lessons online. So there are activities that you can do in your classroom. They are tied into the Massachusetts state standards, as well as the research we do. And so these are just some pictures. We have a telemetry lesson on our Atlantic salmon research. We talk about marine mammal and adaptations. We do right whale ID, just heard about right whales. So those are all online, you can access those. We also do educator workshops. So we do about 1 to 2 a year on a variety of topics. We've done sea level rise, invasive species, contaminants, all sorts of topics. We talk about how they relate, again, to the Massachusetts state science standards. Formal and informal educators can come, and we pull from around the state as well as bordering states. You get to meet with the researchers, you do hands-on activities. We'll either go into the field or go into the lab. You get a PD certificate. And again, these resources are online as well. So if there's a workshop that you are interested in, you can look back to see what resources were provided. And then the last thing I wanted to share is a program we started up when COVID hit, and this is NOAA Live for Kids. These were moderated webinars with NOAA researchers. They're 45 to 60 minutes long. They're archived. You can visit our website to see them. They all have English captions and Spanish subtitles. Most of them have American Sign Language, and all of them have resources that you can access at home as well. And that's my time, because I didn't trust myself, so I timed myself.
Perfect. Thank you, Grace. Okay, as she transitions.
Really perfect timing.
Next, we have Jack Buckley from Cohasset Center for Student Coastal Research, talking about where does my trash go?
All right, let me unmute myself and share my screen and set my own timer as well. And can you see the story map?
Yes.
Okay. All right, ready, set, go. Okay, I'm Jack Buckley from the Cohasset Center for Student Coastal Research. And CSCR is all about engaging students in authentic community-based research. So this is really awesome because it's preaching to the choir, and we're all doing the same thing. So I'm going to make a couple of pitches about the networking that Bob spoke about and invite people who might be interested in collaborating with CSCR on a NOAA grant for the topic here, which is engaging students in GIS. So one of the things that I want to tell you first about CSCR is that we started in a program in relationship with Cohasset High School. And really what we're trying to do, we currently have a NOAA B WET grant, and we're working with area schools in the South Shore. And the work that all of you are doing, which is so inspiring, what we're trying to do is really embed the work that the students often do in the summertime into the school year, creating that bridge between academic year, summer experiences, and then returning back in the fall where students can be credentialed by their school system. So if that's of interest to you, by all means, drop into, let's keep the conversation going and drop into my talk about GIS. So let me quickly hit this topic. So my topic could be connected to a beach cleanup. So what I'm going to do is show everybody how I put together a story map if you're new to GIS, and how we're going to use the geo-inquiry, ask, acquire, explore, analyze, act on our information. So let's just imagine you take a group of kids out and you do a beach cleanup. You might be using the marine debris tracker. You may be very familiar with that. If you are, you know that you can then engage students in database analysis where you can download the data, you can upload it to ArcGIS online, and you can put this all together. I saw one link to a story map in the previous presentation. You can put it into the format of story maps. One thing that you might be familiar with is Esri's study about the fact that Massachusetts is lacking in its emphasis on geospatial technology in its curriculum frameworks and geospatial science. And basically the story map is in 20 seconds. Where does my trash go? And the real hook here is that it leads to an analysis that there were only 7 waste-to-energy plants in Massachusetts where all the trash is transported, and they're all in environmental justice communities. So it's a great way to connect solid waste management with environmental justice. That's it, 3 minutes.
Thanks, Jack. Perfect. Maybe you can send us that link and we'll get your story map up on the website of resources so everyone can explore it. That's great. Oh, okay, perfect. Next we have Bob Chen from UMass Boston.
Thanks, Amy. And wow, what an amazing set of speakers and programs, everything happening, and good lead in, Jack, about how we might collaborate together to have a greater impact. I'm going to give you a little primer. There's a 14-minute video on the website that's a little more expanded about social networks. Networks are present everywhere, but we just need an eye to look for them and see them. On the left is the internet, and on the right are a couple other visualizations of networks. There are 3 basic types of networks. One is social networks. It's individuals who know each other from a variety of ways, like coming to an educators conference, or being a relative, or having a student in a school. And the purpose is support growth and sharing of knowledge, and it matters who you know. The second is a production network. It's the idea is that you each do something different, have a different expertise, and then you work together to coordinate so that you don't have to do everything all the time for everything. Certain people do certain things, and it increases the efficiency of the production of what it happens to be. You're really good at citizen science. You're really good at in-school K-12 stuff. Maybe we can collaborate and do an inclusive program. You run a camp. You can write curriculum. These kind of things. So it cuts costs and increased efficiencies, and reduces the sort of reinventing the wheel type of a thing. The third type is an action network, where a bunch of individuals or organizations share a common mission, a common goal, a common set of values, and voluntarily contribute, or for a very small amount of convening funds, get together and work together towards that goal. And there could be a lot of their work that's towards that goal, and a lot of work that might not be part of that goal. I'm part of this network to do this thing, and not part of the network to do the other part of my work. So it relies on relationships. And this network here that we're exploring and learning about today is a bit of each, right? Some of us know each other. Some of us will know more of us after the day, hopefully. Who do you know to call for what reason and when? And get together to do something together, share knowledge, run a program. Production network, if we wanted to really have a large impact on sort of Boston Harbor youth, for example, who could do what pieces, and how would we organize that and think about that and share the expertise and programs. And in the action network, for example, maybe we're all really interested in the future of Boston Harbor and the future of shorelines everywhere, and want to increase coastal resilience literacy for everybody. How do we do that together, where we maximize our own interests and abilities? And there is a tool called social network analysis, which is able to sort of visualize and map that. And it might identify some strategies for more connection and some weaknesses in the network. So here's an example of NEOSEC, New England Ocean Science Education Collaborative, in 2005, and 6 years later in 2011, you can see it became much more connected and much more robust due to a number of activities that they did. So this afternoon sessions, if you can make it, are going to be doing a lot of this in person. Coastal resilience principles, simple messages repeated often by trusted messengers is effective. Can we all sing the same tunes of coastal resilience literacy, for example? Or we can talk about other ideas. Collaborations, can we find like-minded partners where we can join into small subsets of the network to do something? Or can we all join together for a collective impact, all of us doing the same thing, a common evaluation question or something? And we can definitely do more together than individually, and there's definitely never enough funds for education overall.